Okay, welcome to my first YouTube channel, and we'll start. Let's get this ready. So today
Meant for me to be.
it's going to be about Jubilee's homeless people get 100% honest. And let's go. Let's get this done.
Be a mom. Maybe they're better. Maybe it's not meant for me to be a mom. Maybe they're better off without me. And maybe they don't need me because this entire time that I've had them, our life has been in shambles.
In partnership with Unlikely Collaborators, we've designed Perception Box questions for communities with shared experiences to help broaden self-acceptance and deepen self-understanding. This group of people was asked, in moments of deep solitude, what major concerns and questions about you tend to dominate your thoughts? These are their answers.
I fear that if I'm not successful, my kids will end up like me.
If this is your secret and you would like to share your story, you can step forward on 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's the fear that a lot of people have, that fear of not being successful. I mean, in a way, I have it too. It's mostly minorities, but or people who are addicts or people who have issues, people who are trying to get ahead in life. In one way or another, there's that sense that if you don't make it, you're putting your kids in a very disadvantageous situation where their success is dependent on whether or not you're successful.
For all the people looking to get into the tech industry, here's something I just found out about. You're able to take cybersecurity.
Most people that know me, I'm a pretty happy person. By society standards, I'm successful.
I'm recording a video. Give me a few more minutes. I'm recording a video. Give me a few more minutes. Can I record a video in peace? Because I'm recording a video.
Are you sure?
Yes. Will you just relax?
I see it.
Unbelievable. Can you stop talking? Can I record?
Okay, where is it?
It's recording and recording. I'm literally recording right now, having an argument with you.
Oh, sure.
Lock the door and shoot. Thank you. Edit that out and shoot.
But no one knows the amount of things I've had to overcome, to the point where when I went to therapy for the first time, she was like, how are you not on drugs right now? And I'm like, seriously, that kind of doesn't help me right now, trying to get through it. But I grew up in South Central LA. I'm a part of a study that I found out later on. Every 5 years, they come and visit me. They studied 20,000 kids that grew up where I live. There's only 32 of us now that is not on drugs, is not dead or in jail out of 20,000. I've seen homelessness, and then I became homeless out of nowhere. I was in the first year of my PhD program, and I paid my rent. I didn't know the house that I was renting, the guy was in foreclosure. And by default, living in LA, hotels ain't cheap. And very slowly but surely, I went and I ended up in my car with my 2 kids. And anyone knows me, if my kids need a kidney or anything, like if it's my life or yours, it's not a second. Here it is, take it. So everybody thought I was fit, but the reason why I was so small was because I wasn't eating, because I wanted to make sure my kids ate. Every day I went to work as a professional, as a manager. I had no idea where me and my kids were going to sleep that night. And you guys have no idea how much pain that is. And
It's
I
not
don't ever want my kids to go through, sorry, excuse me.
It's okay. Get it out. Get it out.
They say, go to school. I went to school. I got my master. I got the degrees. They say, be polite. I've done everything that the book, so to speak, said to do. So for me and my kids to end up homeless is ridiculous. I'm not on any support. It's just me. I'm the only one. It's just me. If I fail, my kids fail. You have no idea how much pressure that is. I'm a fighter. I'm a competitor. And I refuse to let the bad things win because I believe it's something greater in life up the road. And if I have to be the person to sacrifice all the pain to make sure my next generations to come will never have to go through it, so be it.
If you can
Don't let the negative moments of your life define who you are. The person who you are today probably isn't who you're meant to be. But more than that, the person who you were before, it doesn't define who you are today. I've had a terrible past, I've made some mistakes. I've done some things that later on now I totally regret. But those things don't define me. It's not who I am. That's not who I ever really was. Now, am I guilty for the things that I've committed, for the things I've done? Yes, I'm guilty for the things that I've done. But that's not who I am. And you can't judge the person who I was then. You can't judge the person who I am today based off the person I was then. I am not guilty for the things that I did back then, right now. You cannot convict me right now, as I am for the things I did back then. I mean, obviously, committed a crime, but eventually I'll catch up to you, and that's a whole different thing. But in her situation, when you're in the situation that you're in, where your kids, they nowhere to go, kids are hungry. Uh, Take two. Take two. When you're in that situation and the kids are hungry, you have to do what you have to do. You have to eat. You have to make sure that you're healthy. You have to work. But she mentioned PhDs. The PhD doesn't mean anything, unfortunately, unless you're like going for a career where there's money in having a PhD. Unless you're trying to be like get your doctorates, unless you're trying to be a doctor, a lawyer, going to STEM. If you're not going into these industries, PhDs unfortunately don't mean anything. They don't pay that much money. And when it comes to being successful, you have to be ruthless. These companies will fire you on a dime. I'm in a situation where now I'm literally about to get fired from a company. The company that I've been working for. Actually, it's not even my company. It's someone else's company. I'm working for them. I'm about to get fired. Same day I had a conversation with HR, I had an interview lined up. Before they even give me that axe, I'm already ready to leave, ready to head out. I don't take it personal. Hey, I get it. I've become a liability for you guys. You know, it's I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been going above and beyond, doing extra work, but the whole time I've reminded myself. The whole time I kept telling myself, hey, you might not last long here. You're a number. At any moment, if things aren't working out and you become a liability, they'll let you go. And that could simply be one person ganging up with another person and them two working together to try to get rid of you.
directly relate to Deb's secret, you can step forward on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, and you may turn around.
Surprise. I knew I liked you for a reason. You've done so well for yourself. 32 out of 20,000 people, you said?
Yeah.
That's a crazy statistic. Like, absolutely crazy. And I think you should give yourself a lot more credit.
Thank you.
Your kids
Yeah,
probably
but-
love you a lot.
Ah,
And the fact that they were like studying these people in this neighborhood and not actually helping, it says a lot too. Someone's coming in studying you all the time. I get it. Studies are important, but what are you doing? Are you helping out? And unfortunately, that's the other thing too. Some of these neighborhoods are terrible neighborhoods, man. You can't stay there. You have to move. You have to leave. You have to get the hell out of there. But unfortunately, when you have kids, you're stuck. Kids are expensive. Food's expensive, especially if you're a single mother or a single father. You're stuck. You can't leave. So now your kids are in a terrible neighborhood. You're in a terrible neighborhood, and you can't get out. Even if you want to, you just can't get out. You would need to take a loan in order to get out of that area. But if you're living in that area to begin with, then the chances are you have bad credit to begin with, which means that no bank is going to offer you a loan. Car loan maybe, but not a personal loan.
I'm worried that my career goals aren't enough to keep me from being homeless again.
This is your secret and you would like to share your story, you can step forward to the mic on 3. 1, 2, 3.
It is an incredible way to travel and have a company of pets.
I get to say any.
Fresh. Let's go. What does he have to say?
Yeah, that definitely. I feel like I say, I don't know, because like I say, I'm an entertainer, and there's no telling, like I said, where it's gonna take me. So it could possibly happen again. You feel me? If I don't play these cards right, so I could possibly be homeless again. It's definitely uncomfortable when you're homeless, when you got to do certain things just to get by. You feel me? I had to do a lot of things that I wouldn't normally do just to keep things going. Like I said, I'm still alive, so if it ain't killing me, it's gonna make me stronger. So I think it's gonna happen for me.
What does it mean? You have to do a bunch of stuff that you have to do. Pause. Come on, what's that? But I get it. You have to steal sometimes. Sad, but when you have no way of getting that food and that income in, sometimes you have to be careful. Sometimes you have to steal. Sometimes you have to get some water. Sometimes you have to do what you can to get out of that situation. You have to beg. I couldn't be homeless. I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I would rather work 2 jobs, 18 hours, 19 hours, 20-hour days than be homeless. I cannot do it. I did it once, but I wasn't really homeless. I was just working. I was a trucker, drove a truck for a while, for about a year. And it worked well. It worked, pay-wise, I was making like $60,000, $70,000 a year. It was a box truck. It wasn't semi. And it was fun though. You have that freedom. And that's one thing that I can say, that some people that are homeless will choose to stay homeless. It's because they do it for the freedom. So, and lack of responsibility, of course. But others, they don't want to be in that situation. And unfortunately, because of circumstances, they're stuck there. And unfortunately, America, they have a homeless problem. California has a homeless problem, but America in general, as a whole, has a homeless problem. They have a veteran problem,
If you don't risk homelessness for it, it is probably not your dream. If you believe in it, then you'll risk it all for it.
I disagree. That is not true. If you have a dream, you will not risk homelessness for it. You will put some risks, but it would be educated and calculated risks. Work your ass off, save your money, take the risk. But you never want to go homeless because of it, because then you started from zero. Scratch that. You started from -0, which is even worse than starting from zero. So no, I disagree with that. You do not risk homelessness for your dream.
So I just if you want to do it, then do it. Even if you might got to sleep on a few couches, a few buses, a few trains. But if you really want it, go get it.
Now I'll ask if anyone can relate to Edward's secret. You can step forward on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, Edward, you can go ahead and turn around.
My boss, he has his own business and I'm his assistant. And if anything were to happen at any given time, or if he wanted to give up on that dream of his, I would be jobless. And things would be hard for me. I have 2 kids, so being homeless with my kids is it's like really hard. It's just a little bit less. I can't just go sleep on a train. I got to make sure that my kids are all right. So I definitely relate to that. I am nervous
Yeah,
that
sleeping on a bus, sleeping on a train, it's not an option, especially if you have kids. For me, it's not an option, period. But if you have kids, it's definitely not an option. You'll have to put in those hours. You'll have to work, even if it's a terrible job, even if the pay is horrible and it's not working, it's not lining up. You still have to stay there. You still have to stay there. You still have to work.
if he ever decides to not be what he is anymore, I will be jobless. And I think that we could possibly face homelessness again.
I came here homeless, fighting it. Recently lost my car and my house, my apartment. I had a roommate that I was collabing with. We were supposed to be making money together, his company and my company. He chose to sleep in the office to not pay me when the rent was due the next day. My dog is dying. I had to figure it out. And the only way to do that is first accepting that I attracted this kind of person to me that put me in the position that I'm in right now. I've been meditating. It helps. I'm honest with how I feel.
Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Read it. It's really good. It does help. It's also another situation that a lot of people don't realize. You go into partnership with someone, you don't really know who they are, you don't really know their character, you don't really know if they're as hard of worker as you are. And then situation that this young lady is in happens where your partner is a lazy bum and they don't want to put in the work, they don't want to put in the hours, and as a result, you fail, not because of a lack of your own effort, but because of a lack of effort of the person who you're partnered with.
How do you feel?
You never know what other people is gonna like. See me, I'm doing it differently. Like she has kids, you got a dog. Like said, I'm doing it just supporting myself, no children. So, you know what I mean? It's a little different for me. It's like I only have to worry about one.
It's not different because your pain is just like her pain, and her pain is like my pain, and my pain is like everybody's pain in here. So it's not different. It doesn't lessen what you're going through. And that was my problem fighting this, that I felt that I was still fortunate. But no, we deserve better. And the problem is that when we think that we don't deserve better, we attract negative shit and we stay in the same fucking cycle. I'm sorry for cursing. I had to change my decisions. I changed the people I surrounded myself, and now I have a place.
Yeah, change the decisions, change your mentality, change how you think, change your surroundings, your environment. You have to change all that stuff. Read books, affirmations. Affirmations help out a lot. When I got out of the situation I was in, I avoided people who contributed to my negative decision making. If they're a family, sorry, I can't hang around you. If they're friends, I'm sorry, we're friends. Yes, it's great, but I cannot hang around you. Whenever I'm around you, I make bad decisions. I make bad choices. You have to put yourself in a situation where all you have, the only option you have, is success.
I can have a car now because of help, my tribe, not by myself. I chose not to have a car. I chose to take the bus because I realized that I haven't been present in my life, and my life is slipping away like my dog.
I mean, this is something that I think about pretty much every day. It's like, I'm a software engineer. I work in tech, and everyone kind of just is like, oh, you do like, a fancy career that like any parent would be proud of. It's like you you're probably safe. But like, I don't feel safe. I feel so like I grew up in an environment where like pretty much everyone is poor. And when you grow up in an environment like that, there's like this big unspoken rule that like so many things out there just aren't for people like you. And where I am, that's definitely one of them. It took me a lot of convincing just to even like try to do what I'm doing now. And, you know, it's like.
Genealogy is our thing. Plus is all the things. 23andMe.
You know, the tech industry right now, things have been going really badly. There's been like mass layoffs from every company of every size. I got laid.
Yeah, a lot of layoffs in the tech industry. And even if he wasn't laid off, let's say he's making a lot of money. The moment his family members find out that he's making a lot of money, you know, the first thing they're going to do is put their hand out, ask for that money. Oh, I need help with this. Oh, I need help with that. Oh, can you just give me $10? Oh, you make so much money, you can't even spare $10. Come on, $100, $1,000. It just goes more and more and more and more. It never stops. I dealt with it for a while, and then I started like lying about how much money I actually made. Went from, oh, I make $100,000 a year to actually I only made 34,000 this year. You start like not talking about your income in order to just get people to not talk about your income.
It off 3 times in 1 year. I'm trying to set a world record. It's real bad out there. And it's like most people that I'm surrounded by, you know, they didn't grow up in poverty. They don't really have experience with it. It hasn't touched their lives. They don't know anything about it. They'll say the wildest stuff that to like for me to hear that's like, oh, you definitely just like grew up in a bubble with money and you've never even like looked outside of it. And you know, I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be powerful. I don't want to like be a creative director or anything. I just want to be stable. I want to feel like I can keep having a home and just not worry about it.
I had to shoplift and become a prostitute just to survive.
All right. If this is your secret and you would like to share your story, you may do so on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, I became homeless because of addiction. It started out later in life, in my 20s. Came from a boarding school, and I didn't learn anything that high schoolers would learn about drugs and social and all that, so it kind of affected me. I had really low self-esteem, so I was willing to do anything to make people happy, so it's just how it started. As my addiction grew, I brought me to shoplift and prostitute just to be able to eat. And it was put myself in dangerous positions just to
change your stuff.
And in my record, like getting in trouble, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And then there's that record part that she stated. It only gets worse. You know, once you get addicted, then you get caught and you get arrested. And then when jobs hire you, have you been convicted of a felony? Do you have any crimes? Do you have any record? That stuff pops up, and then they look at you and they say, you know what, this person is a risk. Can't hire them. They're a liability. It's sad.
Now I'm sober, so I'm doing things the right way. And I'm currently technically still homeless, but I'm in a program. And
halfway home.
So it's technically still homeless. Now I'm doing good, and I have a new apartment coming up, and I have a job and doing good for myself.
Well, anyone going through a similar situation you were going through back then, anyone who can relate to your secret, what kind of advice would you want to give them?
That there is a way out. That this doesn't, your situation doesn't have to.
There's always a way out, you know. That's the thing. There's always a way out. It's just you have to have the strength to pull yourself through, and you have to have that support system. If the support system isn't there, then unfortunately it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to get yourself out. And then the shame, you know, you feel so ashamed about it. You feel so guilty. You punish yourself a lot more than people punish you for it, and that's the hardest part to get over. the forgiveness, forgiving yourself for the things you've done, forgiving yourself for the problems, forgiving yourself for the addictions. It's hard.
To rule you that with a little effort, you could become clean and sober and on the right path, and just don't give up.
What is one of your greatest hopes for yourself today?
To stay sober, to find a job, even with my background, stable place to stay, just things that everybody deserves that I haven't yet achieved yet.
If you can relate to the secret, you may step forward on 3, okay? 1, 2, 3. All right, you may turn around. No one here can relate, but thank you for sharing.
I want to give her a round of applause. Just because we're not standing there don't mean that we're not there with you.
All right.
Like, I know people who definitely can relate. They just ain't in this room.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. I've had suicidal thoughts while being homeless with my kids.
Now, if this is your secret and you'd like to step forward and share your story, you may do so on 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's time to move forward.
I had suicidal thoughts while I was homeless with my kids. There was a lot that led up to it. It wasn't just me being homeless. It was not having any help. It was not being able to get a job because in order to get a job, I needed daycare. In order to get daycare, I needed money. And in order to get money, I needed a job. And it was like a circle of things that I could not get out of. I couldn't escape. I didn't have any help. And we were homeless in December, and it was right after my son's birthday on Christmas Eve. And I chose to be homeless because my dad called me after I was kicked out, and he asked me if I wanted to go back to my mom's, and I said no. And honestly, I think that if I would have went back, I think that I would still be in hotels. I would still be struggling. So even though I was homeless with my children, I would choose that again because I entirely bet on myself, and I just really felt like maybe it's not meant for me to be a mom, and maybe they're better off without me, and maybe they don't need me because this entire time that I've had them, our life has been in shambles, and I can't figure it out for whatever reason. I just
feeling like they're better off without you, someone else. It's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling.
Nothing's working, and I just felt like I'm not going to live on a world where my kids are not with me, so might as well just give them to their dad, have their dad give them a really great life, and I don't even want them to have to worry about me. Maybe they'll just be better off. And so yeah, I just felt like the only thing for me to really do after all that time trying was just to die. So yeah.
Where are you at today? What are you proud of about yourself now?
All of me. Literally, like all of me. I'm proud that I'm not in like a miserable position anymore. I'm proud that I have a job. My kids are in daycare.
And then there's that too, like taking that time to reflect. Like once you get out of that hole, that deep pit of depression, you gotta sit down and just reflect. This is where I was at. This is where I'm at. I'm doing so much better. I look back 3 years from now. 3 years from now, I had nothing. My car was was repossessed. I had just got into an accident. I was stuck in the middle of Atlanta. I was 1,000 miles away from home. I had to get a bus ticket, go down to this downtown Atlanta, get a bus ticket. It was a terrible position for me to be in. Now I can sit down. I had $100,000 a year last year. I made 100 grand, and I'm sitting in front of my monitors and my laptop, and I can reflect. I'm on a 1 week suspension. I'm probably gonna get fired, and I can just sit down and just reflect on the fact that I'm in a better place, and I'm happy, and I'm successful. Having that ability to reflect is something that a lot of people don't have, and they're missing, and it's something that we as a people need to do more often.
They're learning, they're smart, we're all healthy.
And health is
I'm
wealth.
honestly proud of everything. I'm proud of our little house.
Stay healthy,
Like, I live in the
stay
middle of
fit,
nowhere, but
eat, drink,
we got an extra playroom and
work
everything,
out,
a front yard, a
exercise.
backyard. I really have nothing to feel negative about.
Yeah, on the front end, you'll have to sacrifice a lot of time. I mean, the last 2 years, I've been working almost 80 hours, 80, 85, 90 hours a week. For the last 2 to 3 years, I've been working 80 hours a week, 75 minimum. But oftentimes I'm working 80 to 85 hours a week, every single week, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Yeah, sure, some days I called in. Yeah, sure, some days I took a vacation day. But for the most part, I've been busting my ass to make as much money as possible so that I can propel myself forward. And that's the thing that is most important with success. You have to front load those hours. But once you do, you can cruise the rest of the way if you want to. It's optional.
Anymore.
Or you can be like Elon and just keep working.
And honestly, like, if any negativity does come my way, I honestly know shit could be worse, and it's minuscule.
If you can relate to Nikki's secret, you may step forward on 3. 1, 2, 3.
$20, 180. That's how many clients I'm going to get you, and that's how many days it's going to take me to do it. And
Hi. Hi. I never experienced with kids because I gave my son up for adoption, but I've been suicidal, and just pretty much and doing fentanyl, just suicide right there. You know, any moment I could die, and
Best thing
sometimes
you
I
can do in
wanted
that
that,
situation, give them
but
up.
just keep knowing that there's better. There's better things to come.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have kids, but yeah, definitely like thoughts of suicide while homelessness. I was homeless while I was having my first job in my industry, in the video game industry. I had this one, there was like an incident at work where my manager asked me to do something. I misunderstood his instructions, so I spent an entire day doing something that they didn't want. And the way they interpreted that was that I was being insubordinate, that I was just like doing whatever I wanted instead of doing what they were asking me to do. The CEO like sat down with me and said like, we don't tolerate this behavior. Like, I explained that it was just like a mistake, I misunderstood, but she just didn't believe me. And said like, if you make one more mistake, then you're fired. The idea of living in a life where like I had flunked out of the only career that I was qualified to get, is like, I didn't know if I wanted to live that life. When I left.
That's crazy, you know. I will say though, I work at a company, and I tell people all the time, as a person in a leadership role, if you don't understand something, let me know. Don't just continue working on it. Let me know. Ask. If you ask me, hey, am I doing this correctly? I'm not gonna yell at you. I'm not gonna chide you. I'm not gonna, go off on you. I will give you further instructions. That's how that works. So I wished in his situation, he would have asked for advice. He didn't. So that's, its own separate thing. But then when you go to the management, when he went to the management, told him, hey, it was a misunderstanding. I made a mistake. It won't happen again. They should have given him the benefit of the doubt. Give someone the benefit of the doubt. Assume that someone's honest until they prove to you that they're not. Then who's to say that he wasn't being honest? What's your proof?
Left the office when I would go back to the place where I would sleep. I had to walk past like a big like interstate, and I just kept thinking like it'd be so easy to just like, oopsie, fell into traffic. Oh darn, there he goes.
There's more to it than just that, man. Normal people don't think like that. I don't think they'll think like that. But that's weird. It's not normal. But you should always seek help in a situation like that. If you're ever feeling like that, seek help, man. Like I said, it's management should have done a better job of communicating to them, communicating to their employees. With me personally, I position myself so that at any moment I will quit on you. If you're a supervisor, manager, CEO, you get to the point where like plant manager, you get to the point where you're like, okay, you're clearly abusing your power on me. Listen, I will put in my 2 weeks notice. I will quit on you. I will call in. I'll put in those vacations. I will punish you. Okay. And if you want to fire me, I'm going to go ahead. I'll find other jobs. I have savings for a reason. So you should have those savings.
And I thought really hard about it, but the next day was better. The day after that was better. Now, about 4 years later, much better. It's just like, when you have those thoughts about ending it all, it's just like, you don't know what you're giving up.
But then that also tells me something. That tells me that he cares what other people think. You're someone who's very empathetic. You're someone who cares about other people's opinions of you. Give it up. People don't care about you. Especially CEOs, people who are in those positions, they don't care about you. All they see is numbers. You are a number on a chart, and if you as that number don't play, what's the point of having you around? If you don't add up, if you don't function, what's the point of having you around? It's easy to replace you and get a new number, one that will function better, listen better, follow up, and all that other stuff. So just remember, you're just a number. When I was locked up, my constant thought in my mind was, I'm just a number. Now that I work for a company, now that I've been working for a company, who knows, I still work with them, my thoughts haven't changed. I'm still a number. Whether you're in jail, prison, work, you're always a number. Always. And that never changes. The only time when that changes is when you have your own company.
And there are so many times when you can just be like pleasantly surprised about how far you can go. And for what's worth, I'm so glad that you're alive. I know your kids feel the same way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've attempted suicide because it felt like I couldn't escape homelessness.
All right, if this is your secret and you'd like to step forward and share your story, you may do so on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I lost my sister. It was my first real loss, and drugs were my way out of it because she was my protector, my leader. She showed me the way. I believe in turning your pain into art. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything that happened to me. What matters is, what are you going to do with your situation? Are you going to sit there and say, why is this happening to me? Are you listening to what you're saying to yourself? I don't want to be rich. So you won't be. I want to be rich. And richness is not money to me. I want to be loved the way I love.
Richness in life, Money is just a means to richness. at the end of the day, richness is more than just money. The money does help. It does make things a lot easier. But it's not the road to richness. There's more to it than just that. But you want to have a rich family, having a wife, kids, making sure that everything in the household's paid for. Just having that feeling that I don't have to be a slave to a company, and I can just afford basic living needs. That is a rich lifestyle. Or tomorrow, you don't have to worry about whether or not you have enough money to pay for gas, food, or get that car inspection that you know you need, that I know I need.
And I wasn't getting that. I didn't have shit. To the point, all I had was my drug, because for that moment, I was with my sister for that moment.
A moment of blissness.
My sister died mad at me. She was mad at me. I was mad at her. And it was the last hug she gave me, and it was the strongest because she knew she was dying, but I did not. So when she died, I died too. And I wanted to be with her.
Go between your butt cheeks, down between your schnitzel sack, and just sniff the suds, and you go.
I became homeless because I was so stuck on cocaine. But that was my little escape from reality. If there was anyone in the world that didn't want to be here, it was me. I'm still struggling. I don't have it together. I may be homeless in a week, in an hour, or in a month. I swear. You don't need to know the details. You just need to know that I am strong, and I got this.
If anyone can relate to Andy's secret, you may step forward on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, you may turn around. So no one here stepped forward, but we all know that there are so many people out there who can relate.
I also am very, very big on the way that you vibrate and the way that you literally manifest being homeless for yourself or negative things for yourself, bad things for
It's not just homelessness. It's life. The way that you hold yourself at work. It's very important. People watch you. People look at you. People see you. There are people who want to see you fail. Like they go to work and they're miserable, so they want to make you miserable. Don't give them a chance to see that. Don't give them a chance to see that you're frustrated, especially when they go after you. Keep your head up. Keep your smile. Keep going. Things will lighten up. The path will show.
for yourself. You're gonna be okay. And you have to manifest that for yourself. You know
You have
it.
to believe
Don't
it.
say those things. Don't say you're scared about being homeless
You have
because
to
that's
believe
not
it.
even in your future. You went through that already. You did the hard part. You did the work. You're doing the self-healing. You're okay. Don't manifest it for yourself anymore. That's not the life that you live. You're okay. You're a really strong woman. Okay? You're okay.
When people talk about things like poverty and homelessness in the media, I think the representation of it is generally pretty shallow. It's just oh no, can't afford fancy candy, so sad. But then the rest of their life is just completely normal. But there's so much depth to what it feels like to be in this situation that isn't really shown as prominently.
And FYI, anybody homeless, you can't eat, Starbucks every day throws out what they don't sell. You're welcome.
That's the best way to end it with the tip about Starbucks.
Yeah. That's a life hack.
Right?
Well, that went well. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. If you have any video ideas, comment, and email link is at the bottom. Leave a comment. Say something. Help me out. If you guys have any ideas at all, let me know. Thank you. It's nice having you guys around. Happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of the year. Bye-bye. It's been nice having you guys around. Thank you. Have a nice day. It's been nice having you guys around. Thank you. Have a nice day.